Hello, I'm the Dark Master, and welcome back to my LEGO reviews. In today's video, we shall be covering set number 75267, the Mandalorian Battle Pack. From the LEGO Star Wars theme, it comes with 102 pieces in 2 bags and 4 minifigures. As always, let us start with the minifigures. From left to right, we have the Mandalorian Warrior, the Mandalorian Warrior, the Mandalorian Warrior, and the Mandalorian Warrior. Yeah, they don't have individual names, but we do know that the ones with a widened, more T-shaped visor are men, while the ones that have more curved ones are women. Not that that really matters because this is Lego and you can give any of them any helmet you want, but the distinction is canon. So let us start with the men. The first Mandalorian warrior is roughly the most boring. Starting with his helmet, it is molded in burnt orangish brown. It has some really good black and silver printing. They look like angry eyebrows or devil horns. Going to the back, we see this piece has some nice mechanical molding. On either side there are these holes. They have a purpose, but we'll see that on a future figure. Removing the helmet, we see that he is doing blackface. Indeed, he has a completely blank black face. All the Mandalorian warriors do, so I won't mention it again in this review. Going down to the torso, we see that he has a gray torso with highly intricate armor printing. It has a weird eye jewel thing in the center of the chest, which is in green. His belt is fine with several big pockets. Going to the back, we see this Mandalorian has a brown cape. Beneath that, we see the nice back printing. Here there is more battle damage indicated by the silver marks. They're on the front too, but they're more prominent here. He has brown arms with black hands, very basic, perhaps even more so are his brown legs, which unlike all the other Mandalorians in the set, don't have any printing. For weaponry, he wields a stud shooter. It is fine, but nothing special. It has a red stud, but so do all the other ones. Overall, he's the weakest of all the figures here, very forgettable, very boring colors, and it's just kind of generic. The second Mandalorian warrior has a much brighter color scheme, with his helmet molded in sky blue. He has blurred blots of purple on it, like war paint. He also has some silver battle damage, including a bullet dent right to the forehead. Already a far superior figure. Going down to the torso, we see he has more gray in the under armor and a blue chest piece. Ironically, he still has a brown belt. The eye gem is gray. Going to the back, we see he wears an olive green cape. The back print is fine with some battle damage. It's overall a fine printing, and his arms are bluish gray with black hands. In terms of the legs, he is the first to have leg printing. Firstly, the hip printing is just there, nothing really special or worth noting. The leg prints are pretty good and have this kind of asymmetric knee pads. One is larger than the other. Overall, this is a great figure, the second best in the set. Now, let us cover the female Mandalorians. You could call them the wool Mandalorians, but that's a terrible pun. Starting with the helmet, we see what those holes are for, as she has an antenna on her side. The set also comes with a few extras, so you can give them all one if you want. They also come with these bonus visor pieces, but we'll talk about those later. The helmet in her case is molded in light gray and only has some battle damage. The visor is orange and has prominent cheek markings. Going down to the torso, in a change of pace, is a mainly tan piece with smaller silver chest plate with an orange eye jewel. Unlike all the other Mandalorians, she has a distinctive belt and a sort of dress that continues down onto the legs, but we'll get to that later. Going to the back, we see she has a black cape. Putting that up, we see that it's pretty similar to the others, the back print, except for the belt. She has arms that are bluish gray with black hands, and a bluish gray pair of legs, which have a skirt/robe printing. Interesting. Well, I would say it's a good figure. She's definitely third place overall. Not the worst, but kind of weaker thanks to her choice in color schemes. But it's not quite as bland as the first one. Now let us cover the fourth and final minifigure. Starting with the helmet, she has the same antenna as the previous Mandalorian warrior. The helmet is molded in green and has a silver outline around the visor, plus silver cheeks, and blue paint that surrounds it. On the top, there are these little eyebrow markings, and she has a bullet imprint on the side of her head. This is the best color because green is amazing. Going down to the torso, we see perhaps the most radical change in color of them all. Her chest armor is the same green color on top of a darker green under armor. The eye gem thing is a dark green, and her belt is the same as the others. Going to her back, she has a brown cape, much like the first Mandalorian, and the back printing is perfectly utilitarian. She has blue arms with brown hands and blue legs with the same print as the previous one, but it's far more evident thanks to her having an entirely different color and general a greater contrast between the base legs and the print. She is the best figure of the set with the strongest colors of them all. Plus, green's my favorite color. Now that we've concluded with the minifigures, let us start with the pieces. Here they are, nothing really all that meaningful. Sure, the gray base plate is neat, and there are a lot of slopes of various colors, so there is some merit here. Here are the leftover pieces, and there are a lot of binocular pieces that I mentioned earlier, these sort of visor binoculars that can be put on the helmet. But they're really only there if you want to use them, but at least they're there for mocking. Now let us cover what these pieces build. There are two main builds, a piece of rugged terrain and a speeder bike. Let us start with the rugged terrain first, since it's similar. There's a lot of jagged rocks and brown earth that really gives off a scorched earth appearance. There are a clip that can hold rod-shaped pieces and a studded plate piece that can put a stud shooter as a form of a turret. Overall, it's a little build, but otherwise it's kind of forgettable. The second build is a speeder bike. As you can see, it has a relatively utilitarian build for what it is. Starting from the front, we see it has a clear tile piece used for a headlamp. And on either side, we see a pair of wings that really should be bent the other way around. And going to the side, we see a few things. Firstly, we have a pair of stud shooters, and beneath that, we have a pair of grate pieces and a slope piece. The slope has a different color on each side, depending on which side it is. And I gotta say, the asymmetric color scheme, with the right being light gray and the left being a dark gray, really gives this battle-worn utilitarian look. Going to the top, where we see a tan-colored slow piece and a handlebar for controls, we have a seat that anyone can sit on, and going to the back, we see more of that nice asymmetry going on. One side is tan and the other is light gray, and we see that the back and exhaust piece is a red cone. Overall, a perfectly good vehicle. So, what are my final thoughts? Well, the four figures are pretty good, with one being weaker than the other, and one just kind of being there. The terrain build is pretty forgettable, if I'm going to be honest, though it does have good play features. And the vehicle is pretty decent. Of course, it is diseased because it's a licensed set, and it overall harms Lego as a company. Buy it for the figures if you want them, but there are other better options in terms of buying sets. You can easily skip this trash set. I'm the Dark Master, and don't forget to subscribe for more Lego reviews.